Bam, you're on Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. And if it's your first time here, do me a favor, just subscribe and hit the bell to be reminded so you don't miss any other episodes. It's really easy. Subscribe, bell. 2 things. That's all I'm asking for. Really simple. Also, check us out in Patreon if you want to see this episode unedited, uncut, and join the community. Links are down below. Be a part of the family. Supports the channel, supports the fun, and I appreciate it. Coming up here, we have legendary drummer CARMINE APPICE. That's right, Appice. If you've been saying Appice, it's Appice. And how do we know? Well, he's going to tell us. Don't touch that dial. All starts now. Bam. About Do You Think I'm Sexy? I got to ask you about the Rod Stewart group, because I know a mutual friend of ours, Sandy Gennaro, had shared the story how he told you. Sandy's a great guy, another great drummer.
I love Sandy. So Sandy's walking the street. I go, hey, dude, how you doing? Good, man. How are you? I said, he said, I just came from a Rod Stewart audition. I didn't get it. I said, oh, why not? He goes, I don't know. He said, you should do it. I said, oh, interesting. Who did you have to call? He gave me, here's the number and the name. Fortunately, I knew the guy because we toured with Cactus with the Rod and the Faces for 30, 40 shows. This guy, Pete Buckland, was with Rod, and we used to wreck hotels together. And, you know, we did all this crazy stuff together, you know, rake each other's cars, rent the cars, and party with Rod and Ronnie and the band, you know. So I called Pete up, and I said, hey, Pete, so Rod's putting a band together, needs a drummer. You don't even call me? He said, well, you're always busy. I said, I'm not busy now. I said, I'd love to play with Rod. So he said, let me call Rod. Rod was in England. So he called Rod, and Rod says to Pete, look, the band is up at my house. Why don't you go down there and see if I like it? That was the switch. I said, okay. So at the time, I had some cool cars. I had an old Jaguar and a Pantera. So I figured, you know, let me pull up in the Pantera. It's a little more better for the image, you know. And I pull up to this house with these gigantic gates, you know, and this gigantic house with a rotary driveway and a guest house on top, and underneath the 6-car garage, I could see all the instruments sit up there. You know, so I buzz in, the gates open, I pull in with my Pantera. I pull up to the driveway, he's got Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all that. I said, oh, man. This Pantera looks like shit compared to that, you know. But Rod wasn't there. So I walked down. I knew Phil Chen from playing on Blow by Blow. And I knew Jim Cregan from doing, while I was in England at that time, I did some shows with Jim Cregan and John Lord. He did some shows. So I knew them too. And then, you know, they introduced me to Billy Peake, who's the other guitar player, and Gary Granger. And John Jarvis, the keyboard player. So we went in and had a play. It felt good, you know. It was like Cactus, you know, like Cactus kind of music. So he said, what do you think? I said, I like it. He goes, Rod will be back in a couple of days. We'll set it up, come back and play with Rod. So then I played with Rod in the band. That was it. And he said, look, you got it if you want it. And he said, I know you have a name, and I know you have fans. You can do a drum solo every night. And the only problem is, how do you say your name? I said, what do you mean, how do I say my name? He says, you're like Appice, you're Appice, you're a Peachy, you're a Pice. Everybody has a different way to say your name. So what do most people call you? I said, most people call me Appice. He says, let's go with that, because we're going to be playing in front of 15, 20,000 people a night. And when I come out and go, CARMINE on drums, I want to have the right name. So let's go with Appice. Cool with that? I'm cool. So from then on, it was CARMINE APPICE. That's what started it.
That's what started it. I was going to ask you, because you and your brother both say the names.
And then my brother came out with Sabbath. He was Appice and confused everyone that is still confused today. You know, but it started, I have an ad in my studio. There's a picture of me. It says, everyone wants a piece of Appice.
It's great.
You know, and that was a classic ad and ran in every magazine in the world. You know, and with Rod, you know, forget about it. Rod was the main guy, and then under him was me. So Rod would do all the massive press, TV and national radio and TV, and I would do all the local press, radio, newspapers, and all that stuff.
He was the ultimate frontman back then, and that time.
The best. He was the best, and the best voice.
I have the album right over here, right over there.
I see it.
It's the promo copy over there.
My song that I love on that album, besides Sex, you know, is You're Insane. It was so freaking soulful. And his lyrics were so cool all the time.
So cool.
You know? And like the Attractive Female Wanted was another really reggae-ish kind of vibe. I enjoyed playing with it because, you know, I remember when I first played on stage, I was playing, I go, in my monitor, it's me playing with Rod, that voice.
Yeah.
You know? And Hot Legs and Sexy, Losing You. I got the solo, you know, and Stay With Me, you know, all these songs that I loved.
The great songs.
And he was running all over the place and, you know.
Kicking soccer balls.
My mother even loved him, you know. Before I was with him, she went to see us at the garden with Cactus opening up. And she said, I love that singer. He runs all over the place with a great voice. He looks so good. And when I played with him, forget it.
Do You Think I'm Sexy? How did that whole song come upon you guys? Were you jamming? What was the whole?
No, Rod used to say, I want a song like this. So Rod would always say, like, I want this song and that song. So he said, I want a song like the Rolling Stones' Miss You. So we all went home. I went home and had a drum machine. I said, came up with a bunch of chords. Then I went to my buddy Dwayne's house, who got co-writing on it, and he had a little studio. So we put it together, it sounded better. And then he said, I got this idea for a bridge. So he came in with the bridge. So when we presented it, it sounded pretty cool. Presented to Rod, all the other guys presented their bridge, they picked mine.
That was Carmine Appice. And if you enjoyed this episode, well, click on the box right up here to see what's coming up next. And if you want to see this episode unedited, uncut, join our All Access Backstage Pass in Patreon. It's where you have all the fun. And you get to chat with me a little longer than we did right now. Until then, everybody, I am Stefan. You are beautiful. Remember, who loves you, baby? We do. Now get out of here, crazy kids.